Welcome to the Investor Financing Podcast, where we interview real estate investors and lenders so you can learn all the secrets to getting your projects funded and scale your portfolio. Learn about fix and flip loans, BRRRR financing, rental, fix to rent, commercial, multifamily bridge loans, business loans, and so much more. And now, your host, Beau Eckstein.
Beau Eckstein, who is one of the top mortgage broker in USA. In USA, guys. I mean, this is the gentleman, many of you have followed me, got me 15-day closing, $8.7 million loan. Start to finish, literally. I'm telling you, if you're in a bind, if you want to really get some good money quickly, Beau is your guy, on this side. Beau is on this side. How you doing, Beau, buddy?
I'm doing well. You were just before the show. My friend Cynthia and her boyfriend have come. Now that I've moved to Las Vegas, everybody that comes to Las Vegas comes to my house now, right? Because it's like a free stay. So they come and have a little pre-party before they go stay at the hotels, and then they do their party. And so, although Las Vegas isn't completely open, it's long term. We got a lot of people moving here, so it's exciting right now with everything that's going on, because it's getting away from just a hospitality city.
Yes.
So I think that's exciting. I think it's going to be exciting to interview our guest today.
Yes.
Because our guest lives in a city that's just blowing up as well. It has been blowing up for many years. So it'll be interesting to hear more about Austin. But our guest today is Diego, and Diego is a sought-after Forbes featured millennial entrepreneur living in Austin, Texas. He started working in corporate America and soon discovered that he was destined for more after realizing that way wasn't for him. Mm-hmm. Like many people out there that are listening to the show, right? There's a better way, and that's why Vinny and I do this show, because there's a better way, and we got to all gonna help each other get there. Diego pursued a career in real estate. Now Diego is a realtor for Keller Williams alongside an incredible team, and currently owns multiple properties, both in Texas and in Florida. Diego is on a path to create financial freedom and aspire others to help others as well, especially millennials.
Yes.
He wants to help them all become financially free and reach their full potential. Diego is also a dreamer, a DACA recipient, an investor, realtor, speaker, and coach. I think he's done at least one TED Talk. I think he might have done more than one TED Talk. Mm-hmm. Been featured in magazine publications. And I remember just a few years ago when I first met Diego, he was just starting his career, and I just remember seeing him the other day. He had made a post where he had come, where he had got to, as far as a financial position and stuff, and now he owns, I think, quite a few doors. So it was just really amazing, because I actually saw Diego when he first started. He might have had maybe 2 or 3 properties, and now it's just blown up, and it's just amazing to see, because I think he's still about 30 years old now.
I just turned 30 this year.
I turned 30.
Wow. Diego, I remember I just took out my cap from Go Abundance, buddy. I met you there in Steamboat. Actually, we had so much fun time and everything, and I got really fascinated with your story. And then I also, definitely saw TEDx speaker and your talk, and also your whole, journey to go to White House, and the whole DACA all that. So it's great to have you, brother. And let's see if we can send some really good nuggets to all our viewers, because this is a show about real estate. It's a show about loans, of course, and it's a show about syndication. I always try to bring this book in. I know I was doing some shooting yesterday in my office, so we had the banners opened up and all. But this is Spanish too. Look at that here. We got English and Spanish, both of them right there. I thought you speak very, very fluently, right? Yeah.
I was born in Peru, so yeah.
So I wanted to really make sure that everybody listens and watches this. But no, great to have you, brother. So tell us about Austin. I mean, it's gone fire with especially with the COVID happening, and a lot of companies are moving there.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting year. So I'm a realtor. Last year, I sold 30 homes here in Austin as a single agent. I have a team, but like all
You don't.
of my deals, I sold 30 deals,
That's
30
all.
homes, and this year,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to sell around 55. Which is when the reason why I started this way is because
One a week.
it's like,
That's one a
yeah,
week. Oh my
yeah,
God. Congratulations.
probably, yeah. So it's been great. But why I'm saying this is because like it just shows like the Austin market is booming.
Yeah.
I started the year strong, and then during COVID,
Yeah.
we weren't allowed to show homes for like about a week
Yeah.
here in Austin, and then it changed. We went from non-essential to essential, and then from there it was nonstop.
Mm.
Just because people have been moving to Austin from
Yeah.
California, from New York, from other states,
Yeah.
and then Austin was already like Apple campus right
Yeah.
around where I office out of.
Mhm.
It's really close, and so we had a lot of people coming from California that are working for Apple. They're buying houses here
Correct.
with the potential of being able to move to Austin to work from this office
Mhm.
in about a year or 2 years. So that has brought a couple of people to Austin from that perspective. But
Mhm.
then, like a couple of months ago, Elon Musk
Oh
said
my
that
God.
he's going to
Yeah.
build a factory. Then
Yeah.
Zoho, they're building their headquarters here. A lot of the stuff in the East Austin area, and that is what has now. Fast forward to like October, November, the new bills, they're not available for investors anymore, and now there's wait list for people that are needing to buy a home. So for example, before, they would just put a home on the market,
Yeah.
and if it sells, it sells, first come first serve. Now they're doing, hey, we need people on a list, and we're gonna go by, like, if you like this floor plan, there's 40 people before you, just in case you do want to get this floor plan. So now we're looking at like months and months in advance, which is crazy, just on the new builds. On the resale side, we've been seeing multiple offers. People are getting, now that the prices have continued to go up,
Mhm.
now people that are needing to buy a home that can qualify for like 275, 280, they are now needing to buy in like Kyle and Buda, more in the suburbs than Austin, where before it wasn't an issue. And now we're seeing offers 25,000 over asking, 30,000 over asking. We've won the couple, which has been great, but before it was just 3 grand over asking or 5 grand. And now we're seeing the big chunks, which is just making Austin go up and up and up because of the fact that there's not much inventory, and Austin is growing like crazy. We have a new soccer team coming into Austin too, so it's gonna bring tourism, and they're building
Awkward.
different things all over too, like Round Rock.
Yeah.
They're building a surf park, or like a hotel that has a pool inside with like
Mhm.
waves and all of that stuff.
Ah.
So that's bringing a lot of different people too, for tourisms and
Ah.
sports and all of that.
So would you say then mostly IT people are moving as the demographical shift is happening, or more millennials, I guess? Is that right?
Millennials and IT, I
IT.
would say so. Now, with a lot of people that can work from anywhere,
Yeah.
that's bringing, Austin is also a really cool place too. And it has like a lot of green. It has a lot of where people can go on hikes and all of that stuff. So that's bringing the millennials too, that just want to live in a hip place where there's a lot of live music and all of that stuff, like ACL. So that brings a large demographic of people that want to move to Austin.
Sure, good lifestyle for young people, children, young
Yeah,
family, all that. I
yeah.
remember we attended a
And
wedding many years back. It reminded some portion of Austin, reminded me of California, like
exactly.
rocky and all, and then fall underneath the house. I remember where we had the wedding happen, and so on. No, go ahead. Yeah,
And with the IT part too. I mean, with IT comes the jobs, but they're usually higher paying jobs, right?
yeah,
So that also brings, like, if they have an executive team, if they're building their second headquarters here, jobs are starting, let's say, like 80, 90, 100,000, which means that they have more money to be able to buy in certain areas.
Yes.
And that has been increasing the values a lot in Austin too.
I love it. I love it. I was just sharing before the show, Diego, we bought 34,750 was the price of this 308 units right there in the domain. And there were 16, 15 or 16 parties stronger than, maybe half were stronger than us, by the way, my partner and I. And we still ended up buying it because we had to give hard money. When we signed the contract, we wired 487,000 or something like that.
Wow.
That means if we close on it, it's great. But if we don't close on it, somehow some glitch happened, that 500,000 is gone. So
Yeah.
we see that there is such a big potential. Anybody listening to us, anybody from Austin, commercial multifamily, actually I'll be buying 3 to 4 assets there in Austin in the 35 million to 70 million range, actually. So if anybody is listening, that'll be awesome. Again, I'm going to wait until 2021, of course, now with the December coming up, and multifamily. No, tell us more. Beau has got a lot of questions for you. Huh?
Yeah. I think what a lot of the viewers would probably want to hear, which I think is a really cool story, is how Diego got started with his first what we call a house hack, and that's kind of a popular trend with like millennials just getting started, right? They buy a house, and then they do room rents, right? So if you listen now, kind of Diego to kind of walk us through his first investment, and then now he's scaled it. And I don't know how many he's got now, but he's got enough that he's he covers his monthly expenses with all his rental income. So he's what we consider 100%er, which is very good. And he did it at the ripe age of 30, right? So, the goal a lot of us were taught is like to create passive income, right? That's why we get into real estate. And it's not easy, right? But it's a proven formula if you just apply yourself. But I like what he did because he started kind of in a really kind of an easy way, because you can go in and buy with a residential loan, right? And then you can live in one unit and you can rent the other 4 bedrooms as he was going to college. So kind of, if you don't mind, dive into that, how your mindset, how you got started with it, and then now what does it look like for you?
Yeah. So when I moved to Austin, Texas, I was 23 years old. And I was working as a software developer, so like IT jobs, right? Too. Yep. I started here as a software developer, and I realized, though, in reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, that I wanted to build passive income. Just the active income from my job wasn't going to be something that I wanted, that I could rely on. And with everything with coronavirus and stuff, it shows that like you definitely need to have multiple streams of income, not just one from your job. So what I did is I realized that my living expense was the highest that I was having every single month. So I asked myself, how can I eliminate it or reduce it? And that's where I turned into house hacking. I found out about it online, but I realized that I could own with low money down. I could buy a house and own a property where I could live in the master bedroom and rent out the other 2 or 3 rooms. Or you can buy a duplex, triplex, or quadplex and live on one side while you rent out the others. The benefit of that, and so I bought my first house hack when I was 24 years old, is that you can buy it with low money down. You can get a multifamily with an FHA loan, 3.5%, or a single family also with an FHA or conventional loan, 3 to 5% down. Or you can even go USDA and VA loan and put 0 money down, which is like freaking amazing. So what that allowed me to do is that I bought a home in Austin, Texas in 2014 for $170. Now that property is worth $250 or more, but I bought it for $170, lived in the master bedroom and rented out each room for $650, which gave me a profit of around $200 a month or $300 while I was living for free. That paid for my car payment. So since I've been 24, everything has been getting paid by other people. And that is a mindset that I believe that a lot of people should have, is like, how can we get other people to pay for our bills, right? Like, how, instead of collecting bills, let's collect income streams that pay for our bills. So in going through that, I was able to buy a house with less than $10,000 because I bought it putting 5% down. I am a dreamer and a DACA recipient, so which basically means that I am undocumented, but I could still qualify because I will have a work permit. I renew my permit every 2 years. I'm allowed to be here technically. And what that allowed me, though, is that I had to speak with a lot of lenders because not many lenders knew what DACA was. I didn't have credit yet. But after a lot of no's, I was able to get a yes, and that's when I bought my first property. Now, with house hacking, with owner-occupant loans, you have to live in the property. If not, you have to put down 20% or more. But with owner-occupant, you can buy a house 1 year and then repeat the process again the next year or after 2 years, and you keep the first one as a rental. So that's how I got started. And you buy again with putting 5% down. So imagine 1 year, bought a home with less than 10,000, live for free. I was able to save that money and repeat the process again in year 2, put another 10 or 15,000 and go again and again and again. So that's how I was able to build my portfolio. But then now I have some properties in Austin, I have some in Tennessee, and then some in Florida.
Excellent. Congratulations. That's fabulous. Fabulous. Is it true that, like, if you have a fourplex and if you're living in one of those units, let's say, Beau, would it be considered as your primary residence?
Yes. FHA loan all day long. 3% down.
People don't know that. A lot of people didn't know that, and I was one of them too, by the way, and it's amazing. I hope that's a great nugget, guys. I would rather you not get a duplex or triplex, go for a fourplex, and it considered as your primary residence, and you pay only 3% down, right? Beau, 3.5%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, I think Diego got really good at this house hacking. He actually has a course on it, so a lot of people are first time home buyers and things. Even if you're not a millennial and you've been renting and you're 45 years old, right? It's a great course because you might not be ready to be a Vinny Chopra and go buy a $30 million property, but if you don't get started now or soon, you're never gonna get started. And the longer you wait, there's a statistic, and I forgot it was the difference between a renter and a homeowner, like their net worth, and it's just like night and day. I mean, it's I forgot what that number was, but it's true. And when you really look at it, because a lot of people reach out to me that want to start investing, they're like, well, what should I do? I said, well, do you own a house? And they think, well, that's not investing. It's like, well, if you do it as a house hack and you buy a triplex or a fourplex, or you're a college student, you're willing to rent rooms out. Like, me at my point in my life, I wouldn't do a house hack, but in my 20s, I actually, before house hacks were around, how I bought my first house? And this is kind of interesting now that we were talking about this. I couldn't qualify for a loan, so I leased the property. It was a house in San Ramon, California. I did what's called a lease option. So I leased it with the option to buy.
Yes.
And at that time, I set the price. And then, so I set the price when I first leased it. And then a year later, when I went to exercise the option to purchase the property, it was worth $50,000 more. And I was able to, the lender was able to treat it as a refinance. And I bought my first house I was like 23 or 24. And that was like amazing, right? Like to own in the Bay Area at a young age. And like I was
in a very nice city. I mean, San Ramon, I lived there. We live in Danville now. But you're right, yeah.
And I couldn't afford the monthly payment. And now that I'm thinking about it, I did my first house hack. I didn't even realize what it was then. And I had my good buddy from high school, Josh, living in one room, and my other buddy, Joe, living in the other room. And they were, they covered the majority of my mortgage payment. And I never thought about it that I actually did. That was my first house. I did a house hack, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without sharing rooms, right? And that's something that anybody can do, any millennial or anybody could do. But if you don't like the idea of sharing your house, I like the idea of, like, I can go buy a fourplex.
Yep.
And live in there for a year or two, create some equity. Maybe I fix it up, raise rents. Right now, it could be worth more. You refinance.
Yep.
You get you pull cash out. You go into a long-term loan because you can't have more than one FHA loan at a time. So
Right.
you're the best option would be to refinance that into a conventional loan when it goes up enough in value.
Yeah.
And then you go buy again with FHA, right? So there's a whole strategy behind it, and that's what Diego goes over in his course, which is like a perfect example of where to get started, right? Because a lot of people they're so overwhelmed about investing. They go into Bigger Pockets, they listen to everybody's story, and then they go, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
This could be your easy baby step, getting started. Diego, can you kind of like walk us through now?
Walk us through.
As you're a realtor too, like now that people are reaching out to you, like can you kind of talk about now you're putting your realtor hat on, because I'm sure you have clients reaching out saying, hey, I want to do a house hack. So is that kind of your one of your business models with your real estate business?
That has been a lot since I've been featured on the Bigger Pockets podcast. To give you an example, last year, that gave me, I've probably helped just this year probably around 10 people that have wanted to house hack.
Wow.
Helping them either with a duplex or a house. And it has been incredible because like it allows me to help them buy one, right? It allows me to help them start their path on financial independence, but in putting, like you said, my realtor hat on, it also, when I teach them about financial independence, it's not just like they're going to buy one property. If they do it the right way, they can buy 2, 3, 4 properties in the next coming years. And so it allows me to build a relationship with somebody that I will be able to help over and over and over again in helping them buy the homes. And then if their roommates want to do the same thing, then they're going to reach out to me because I'm considered the expert in the field, right? So they're going to say, hey, Diego, you helped me. One of my roommates wants to do the same thing. Can you help them out? And boom. So that's how I've been able to build a business of like referrals too. And me by just sharing my story on different podcasts has brought a lot of people that want to do this because it's something that you can do with low money down. And I basically show them how I've been able to do it here in Austin. And then I showed them how I did it so that they can do the same, which is like buying 4 bedrooms, like buying a house with four bedrooms, ideally 3 full baths, or getting a couple of duplexes that way, or triplex or quadplex.
Very good. Awesome.
What's your kind of like your next step in your investing career? What are you working on now? Has it changed? Are you still doing room share houses, or what's your kind of strategy going forward?
Yeah. So basically right now, what I've been doing is my next step in 2021, I've been I want to put myself in a position to invest in a syndication or buy something that is like an 8-plex or 16-plex or more. So that's the goal. I don't want to do any more of like single family houses. I do own like 8 Airbnbs in Tennessee. And that's good too. So I'm trying to diversify from that perspective. I have a quadplex in Florida, but now I do want to work towards a syndication, whether I am more like an LP or we just do it with like a group of friends and then we take care of the property. So that's what's coming up next for me. But it's still, as on the realtor side, I feel like next year, I feel like it will probably be the same as this year, just because so many people are moving to Austin, and with the connections that I've been able to build with the guys in GoBundance, with the people in my mastermind group, and all of that stuff, it has given me a lot of opportunities to continue to help people in Austin. Yeah.
Awesome. When you said about multifamily, and that's what I've been living in for 14 years. And then you said the word syndication.
Exactly.
I think I'm where I am. Diego, I can be the real proof of last 13, 14 years. It's the world of syndication has given me, like I bought 14 units for $180,000, right? Very close to Austin in Odessa, Texas. North side, right? Odessa. And but it has just given us the momentum for the last 12 years to get into bigger and bigger multifamily, close to 4,500 doors now, under the portfolio and all that. But the thing is, what do you see? I'm so glad you're talking about, and you live in the city where I want to buy bigger, but my students in my academy want to buy smaller units also. So how is the market there? Would you share like the north, south, east, west, like where the growth is coming? You
Yeah.
probably know the market more than anybody I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say east of 35 right now is where we're gonna have the most amount of the growth, and also I feel like appreciation in the future. By the domain, all of that area, of course, whether that's whether that's west of 35, I feel like
Mhm.
that's gonna continue to grow as well. But
Mhm.
the east side, it is still undeveloped in a way. I mean, there's a lot of apartment buildings that are getting built right now,
Mhm.
but there's still some land there
Mhm.
that I feel it will get developed in the future, and it's still quote unquote like affordable from the perspective that you can still get a house under 300. Well, now it's like under 325 or 350.
Oh,
So prices have been going up, and it's crazy to think that when I first got started in real estate, I was helping people buy in those areas that were house hacking for like 250 or
yeah.
under, right? There were some houses that I didn't buy because they're like, man, 200, that's a lot. And now I wish I bought them, just because now they're selling for like 300. So I feel like there is a lot of appreciation on the east side of
I
30.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
whether that is north and also south. You
I.
have like Easton Park in Southeast Austin is growing.
Mhm.
Closer to by the airport, they're going to be building a new HEB and a few other things there that will bring businesses and more people as well. And then
Mhm.
the north side by Samson, there's something called East Village, and there's going to be a lot more shops there too in the
Mhm.
coming years. Not right now, but
I
in the
see.
coming years. So I feel like there was a period of time last year that I wanted to sell one of my properties just because I had like over 100,000 in equity, and I'm like, let me see what I can do. And then once they announced that, I'm like, I'm gonna keep it. So
You're gonna wait, yeah.
for a
How
while.
about opportunity zones? Are there any opportunity zones here in Austin or around there?
So I know that there are. They're by
Okay,
I know one that they're by the East Riverside area,
I see.
which is just south of the river, and probably two, maybe north of the river too, on Cesar Chavez. I don't know much about like the maps and stuff like that of opportunity zones, but I know that in talking with other people, they are mostly on the east side of Austin.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Well,
because there's a lot of
this is
opportunities there.
something on my mind, Diego. You are right from there. I love barbecue. So it's off the subject, but there is supposedly a great barbecue place
Uh-huh.
downtown Austin. Is that right?
It's Franklin's Barbecue. I
Oh
believe
my
it's
God.
called
I don't, they're
Franklin.
not paying us any money, but I
Yeah,
know, there is a good one. I think
yeah.
somebody, yeah, Franklin's.
I
Okay.
still haven't been there yet
Hmm.
because you have to be in line for about 2 hours. And
What?
on the week, and yeah, so you have to get in line in the morning, even during the weekday, and by 1:30 they run out of food. There's people over the weekend that they start the line at 7 a.m. and they still open at 11. Of course,
Oh,
people go there with like a cooler of beers and stuff like that. So they make it a whole day kind of thing.
it's like,
Um, I
oh,
haven't
wow.
done it yet, but
Holy
it's
cow.
good.
Is it in a trailer or like a,
It, it's like a mini. It's a small house building area.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. I see,
yeah,
I see. That's how it
I
is.
want to go there. That sounds good. I'm getting hungry now.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
So listen to this. I follow this guy on LinkedIn. This is related to Austin, and he's like his company does like housing studies, and he says he posted this the other day. He said Austin is the only major market building more homes than in the mid 2000 boom.
Aha.
After that, Nashville, Dallas, Raleigh, and Houston are up next. Uh, and then he points out that Inland Empire, Riverside, San Bernardino in California is the stunner here with 75% less construction. So all the construction, what that is Houston's a major market building the most homes right now. Like everybody else is not building because they're seeing the demand, right? You've got migration, not just from California. I mean, I don't know what are the other big states.
Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy. And I mean, so to give you an example, I have a client in Easton Park who wants to buy a home in Easton Park, which is a new build community. And we are on a list for 3 floor plans, and we are number 80, number 40, number 50, number 60, like in that range, which means there's like more than 40 people that are wanting to buy, that put their names down, that when a lot becomes available, and there's only 8 to 12 lots that they come out every month. That's it. There's only 12 every single month. So yeah, I mean, for example, them being on that list, they're probably not going to get anywhere close to building their home until probably March, and then from there will be another 6 months.
And so I think like what I'm doing too, like for example, I just moved from California to Henderson, Nevada, right? Mm-hmm. So I think what I heard you saying, Diego, too, is there's a lot of people that are like just kind of buying a second home right now, just thinking I know I'm gonna be relocating, and I want to move to Austin. So I think I think we're in for a little bit of trouble as far as the economy, like globally, right? But I do believe that like there's going to be certain markets that are just going to excel because your people are going to like, people are going to say I can work at a house, I want a bigger the builders were building smaller and now they're building bigger properties. So you're going to get people, you're going to get young professionals, right? That they're going to go fill your apartments, or you're going to get people that don't want to own, and then you're going to get people that are relocating that go, oh, I can buy a house for $350 in Austin. That's cheap, right? Where Diego's like, I could have bought that 5 years ago for $2.
Yeah,
so it's the same thing happening here in Vegas. We're getting a lot of Californians like myself, and they're looking and they're going, oh, this is $400,000 in California, it'd be $1 million. So it's kind of like a no-brainer. And I actually did a podcast on like why I moved, right? Because I go, if I would have bought the same house that I'm sitting in right now in Walnut Creek, it would have been $1.3 million.
Wow.
Here it's $375. I pay there's no state income tax. Everything's cheaper except car insurance. So I think you're going to see more and more of this. And I mean, I don't think it's happening right now. I mean, COVID's probably expedited it, considerably, but I think people now want a better life, right? Everybody's like has this mindset. It's like, you know what? It's about living better, and so that's why you're seeing this big migration, and you're seeing a lot of job growth. I mean, how many guys in the Go Abundance group just recently said, "I'm moving. I'm going to Austin." It's been amazing how many. I mean, there's 5, and it's only a group of 180 guys.
Wow.
And I've helped 4 or all those 5. I've built their house here. So yeah, 2 of them bought condos. A few of them bought one of them bought a home, and their mortgage payments by in the whole year is going to be around $150,000. And he said, just by me moving to Austin, Texas, the $150,000 that I would pay in income tax in California, I'm gonna save that. Saving that is gonna pay for my large house here in Austin.
I'll be done. So thinking, how Dallas and Fort Worth, right? You go way back. Same thing. Austin has so much land, I think. I mean, it's even going south to San Marcos, Seguin. Exactly. I know the new freeway that's coming. I used to own 132 units. 132 units. Country. Oh my gosh, what was the name of it? Right on the Country Club golf course there in Seguin. We sold it about 1.5 years, 2 years back. But then San Marcos we sold before, but San Antonio also. So the distance between San Antonio and Austin may be a lot more growth might come there
Yeah.
also, right? And
Yeah.
then north
Yeah.
side going to Waco, Texas, and clean. I mean, all that area there. So there's a lot more potential. That's how I see it
Exactly.
too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one strategy that I would like to share for people that
Mhm.
are maybe coming out of town, like from out of state, or that are wanting to buy a new build here in Austin just because they don't want to deal with multiple offers, because there's been some clients that we submitted an offer and we were offer number 26, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's a lot of offers.
Mm.
But one strategy is to buy a new build and lock in that price. Like
Uh-huh.
I helped a client buy a house. Like he locked in the price for 285 in a
Okay.
community by the airport in Southeast Austin for 285, and now it's probably worth. He hasn't even closed on it yet.
Yes.
We're talking about like 8 months later because he was one of the first ones. Streets still had to be put in and everything, and now
Mm.
that is probably worth 320.
Wow.
So just by doing that, he put $1,000 earnest money with the
Yeah.
builder, and now he's walking in with like $30,000-$40,000 in equity just by
Equity.
doing that. So for anybody that wants to potentially just not deal with all the multiple offer BS, just
Mhm.
get a new build and ride that equity. It will close in 6-8 months, but if
Yeah.
you're buying in a city where like it's growing so much, I don't see any, and not just because I'm a realtor, but like I
Mm.
don't see the Austin market coming down anytime soon or slowing down just because of the lack of inventory. There's been times where like in certain areas, average days on market is 5 days,
Ah.
literally. Like in 5 days, the house is gone.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Very good. Very good. Well,
Amazing.
what else could you share with our audience? Yeah, how can people reach you? Yeah, there we go. There we
Yeah,
go.
they can go to my website diegocorso.com. They can also go and on Instagram. I am realdiegocorso.com. They can ask me any questions, and if they want to reach out more about like the mastermind group that I have and all of that stuff, they can definitely check out ratrace2fi.com, because the idea is like to get people out of the rat race to
Yeah.
achieve financial independence so that they have the option to choose to go to work if they really like their job. But a
Right.
lot of people have to go to work. I want them to say, hey, I get to go to work. I get to do what I really want to do, not I have to go to do a job that I don't like.
Surely, surely. Wow. No, it's really great to have you, Diego, and you've shared some great, great ideas. Bo, anything else you'd like to ask?
No, I just, I love the conversation because we talk about some, crazy big deals that Vinny's doing that seem overwhelming, but we all start from some place, and you hear Vinny started with his first 14 unit property at it was $180,000 seller finance deal, right? So
Yep.
anybody could be a Vinny. You just got to apply yourself, right? And you got to be relentless, and that's what he did really well. He just doesn't give up, but even if you don't want to be a Vinny and you just want to get some financial independence, right? It's you got to get started, and if you don't get started, you'll never get there. So if you're looking around, educate yourself on maybe doing a house hack. Get your money, because look, in a 6 or 7 year span, Diego quit his job, has enough, pretty much covers all his bills from his rental income and then some.
Mhm.
And now he's got discretionary income where he's talking about potentially just investing, a big chunk of change, $50,000, $100,000 in as an LP, right?
Yeah.
As an LP in a deal like what Vinny does, or somebody like Vinny, right? And I think ideally, if you really want to be a passive investor, which is my goal, is to have enough money I could just, right? Like I could put it in Vinny's syndication over here. I could put, 100,000 with Diego's 16 unit he's buying over there. I mean, ultimately, if you could just do that and live off of that, that's the dream right there. But you got to get started with that first house hack, and you got to grow, and believe it or not, I mean, like in a short amount of time, I don't know, you got like 20 doors or 30 doors, Diego, like somewhere around
I have
there.
about 20 now. Yeah.
20 doors.
Yeah.
And he started with $10,000.
Yeah.
with an owner-occupied house.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even a American citizen at the time. He figured out how to get a loan, and he got 90% loan to value. He had to put down 10% or so, or
5%. Yeah.
5%.
And with what you're sharing too, Beau, is like, look, if I am not American, right? It wasn't until I was 22 years old that I began to drive and legally drive and legally work in the United States.
Awesome.
By 23, I bought my first property. By 27, I had 10 and I was financially independent. And then by 29, I became an accredited investor. I became a millionaire, right? But I'm sharing this not to like show off, but to be like, look, if I can do it, right? 22, I couldn't work or drive. Now I have this small portfolio built, and it has allowed me to help a lot of other people. I feel like anybody can do it. They just need they just need to take the right action, have the right goals, and have the right peer group. I feel like that is super important to help them, to hold them accountable to get to where they want to be.
So true. So very true. What you just said, Diego, a lot of us dream, and we want to change the course of action of our life or what we've been doing and, struggling or all kind of things like that, right? We procrastinate. We procrastinate so much that it just kills us. And we are really, we really put ourselves down and we feel guilty and all that. And I think it all boils down to, like you said, making one decision. There's a book also, right? Make one decision and that can change your life. But you got to stay the course. You got to figure out, which way you are going and stay the course. Focus, focus is power. No, thank you so much for joining us today. Diego, God bless you. It's been such a pleasure having you, bud. And, God, give you more strength and also your investments into multifamily, go bunkers and, actually we'll be coming to your city more, Austin, actually, because we want to build assisted senior living. That's my new place.
I would love to invest in that. So
no way. I'll ask your cell number. I might even have it. I'll send you then because we are building assisted senior living. We have built 17 of them so far, and now we are building 4 more. And I'd love to send you, some packages.
And one thing that I like to say about that is like I'm house hacking to like millennials. That is house hacking to the elderly, right? Because they're renting a room in a large house and all of that stuff. So
surely, and it's such a big demand for it. Such a big demand,
And what I like about what Vinny's doing too is they're building single story. They're not building multiple story, which makes sense. People that are moving and looking for assisted living facilities, it's actually the family, the kids that are looking for their parents, right? They want something that's not like a 5-story like medical facility. These look like luxury condos, and I think that's the differentiator with what you're doing, Vinny. And I think that's why you guys are able to, get them rented out, leased up so quickly, right? It's because that's what people want. If you deliver a new product that's nice and for the same price or better than what they can get against the competition. It's the same thing with apartments, right? You look at location and then you look like, okay, I get these amenities versus these amenities.
Yeah, the amenities really, especially at that age of 83, 84, 87. The experience you want to give to our seniors should be the prime, goal. And that's what we do, Diego. We put a movie theater, we put libraries, we put, of course, 5-star dining, made to order, chef and everything, 3 meals, all that. And then salon, and then the spa, and the meeting rooms, and the sunrooms, and the billiards, and grand pianos in our communities, so that our seniors can have great evening time together with it's a camaraderie. It's a multifamily at its core. But I get so fascinated because I've been chasing jobs for 14 years. And this is now retired people. These are the ones who have made it, and they want to have a golden years and very respectful years. Yeah.
Awesome.
No, so good to have you.
Yeah,
It's a
really
pleasure.
thankful for the opportunity, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Totally.
Thanks for listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. For show notes and useful resources, please visit investorfinancingpodcast.com. For questions or comments, email info@investorfinancingpodcast.com. If you enjoy our show, please share it with your network. Until next time.